If we need a small hint, what we need to calculate? We need to calculate FBA. FBA bar. FBA indicate force on charge at B due to charge at A. Hence, unit vector also should be RBA. RBA cap. Find magnitude and then find direction, unit vector separately. You can easily calculate the distance R is 5 meters. The magnitude K into Q1 into Q2 divided by R square, we substitute these values, we find the magnitude comes equal to minus 9 into 10 to power minus 9. The negative sign indicates the force is attractive in nature. Then we calculate, that's the direction of force. How you notice this is the direction of force. And then we calculate unit vector RBA. How do we calculate unit vector RBA? Vector AB, we divide by its magnitude. What is vector AB here? Can you all calculate vector from A to B? XB minus XA. XB minus XA will be equal to 3I cap. 3I cap minus 4J cap. You divide 3I cap minus 4J cap divide by, you divide this term by
5.
So, divide by its magnitude. You get this unit vector. So what is the force here? Magnitude, this term multiplied by the unit vector. This term multiplied by unit vector. So you will get this as a force. So what do you do? Even after the session gets over, these days you will have more time for practice. So try and again go through this part and try solve on your own. See that you're able to solve. And again, all of you listen carefully. Today again in the evening, mostly around 4 o'clock, again I'll start a session that will be only a doubt session. So those who are not clear can take a little time, and again I'll try to clarify those doubts. Is all everyone has understood what I said? Today in the evening I'll have a doubt session. So again try and go through what we do today in the class. If something is not clear, we'll try and again clarify during the doubt session.
Sir, is the ID same?
Yeah, same ID.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, some of you, I think, see, yeah, all of you noticing something coming on the screen, this arrow mark red color, or is coming only on my screen?
Yes, sir, it's coming.
Sir, it's coming.
Sir, it's coming.
Yeah, I know somebody is doing it. I have to check how to find out. Please, but I am sure somebody is doing by mistake. Please to avoid doing that one. Okay, every time I have to go and erase it. Huh? Okay. What happened? Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's where we were. Now, so far what we have done, we only dealt with those cases when charged particle placed in air or vacuum. What happens if it is placed in some other medium? Let's try and understand. We can place these two charges in air, or we can submerge this charge in some liquid also and place the charges inside a liquid. And a similar way, it can be placed in some other medium. What will be the electrostatic force in that case? Which term will change in the formula? Look at this term here. If the medium changes, of course, which term will change? Either this term K will change, or this term epsilon naught will change. Because this is the one which is the property of the medium. Epsilon naught is the term we can use only when it is air or vacuum. So what will happen if we use some other medium? In place of epsilon naught, we need to use epsilon or permittivity of the medium in which charged particles are placed. Right? So medium other than air or vacuum, E naught has to be replaced with E of that medium. What does the term E stand for? Permittivity of the medium. Typically what we do, we write epsilon as epsilon R into epsilon naught. What does epsilon R indicate? Indicates the ratio or relative permittivity. It is epsilon by epsilon naught. It's a ratio of the two. So what is epsilon? Epsilon, what permittivity of that medium is relative permittivity into permittivity of air. Is something you have come across term relative density. Some of you recall the term. So suppose I say iron has relative density of 8. What does it mean? What is density of iron in that case? 8 into density of water.
Density of iron to water.
No, so similar way, say what is the density, relative density of mercury? Relative density of mercury is 13.6. What does it mean? What is density of mercury? Density of mercury is 13.6 multiplied by density of water. Is this term also very similar? Yes, it is very similar. What
Yes,
is
sir.
permittivity of a medium? Is relative permittivity into permittivity of vacuum. What is taken as a reference? Permittivity of vacuum is taken as a reference. So epsilon is equal to epsilon r into epsilon naught. As simple as that. It's a ratio. So relative permittivity is a dimensionless term. Only thing is always greater than 1. So no other for any other medium will have a permittivity greater than permittivity of air or vacuum. So if I write for any other medium, what is the change we notice here? What we notice in terms of epsilon naught, I have replaced the term here, epsilon r into epsilon naught. Or if I take this term out, whole term is equivalent to force in air divided by epsilon r. All of you followed this part, what is written here? So any other medium, what will the force? Force will be 1 by epsilon r times of the force had the two charged particles kept in vacuum. Or we can say force becomes 1 by epsilon r times the force in vacuum. So force in any medium, since epsilon r is greater than 1, force in any medium is of lower magnitude compared to force in vacuum. So take a minute, see that is all understood. The last statement, does it make sense? Force in any medium is of lower magnitude compared to force in vacuum for identical conditions. Why force in any other medium is lower? Any other medium will have higher permittivity compared to permittivity of vacuum.
Vacuum.
And permittivity comes in the denominator. If the denominator becomes higher, the force becomes smaller. So suppose I take, yes, Vignesh.
What exactly is permittivity, sir?
Permittivity is a property of the medium, as simple as that. Permittivity is a property of material. There's nothing else. Basically, what is mass? Mass is mass kind of thing. So permittivity is a property which affects force between two charged particles. There's something called dielectric and all, we come to that later, but as of now, we understand is a property of the medium. So if I say oil has a relative permittivity of 3, what do you understand? So what comes to your mind if I say oil has a relative permittivity of 3? So suppose I have two charged particles.
3 times the permittivity of air.
3 times permittivity of air. That's one thing should come to our mind. The second thing what should come to our mind is suppose I have two particles. Force acting between them is 10 Newton. I kept two particles in this room, which is in air. Force between them is 10 Newton. I fill up the whole room with that oil. What will happen to force between these two particles?
10 by 3.
10 by 3.
That's what it means. So that's what you need to understand. That's what the effect of the medium is. Effect of the medium is permittivity changes, hence the force also changes. Can the force become larger? No. The permittivity is always greater than, any medium has a permittivity greater than vacuum. Hence, for identical charge and distance combination, force is maximum in vacuum or air. Any other medium, it becomes smaller. Actually, air also has a relative permittivity of something like 1.003. Just higher than 1, but we take it almost close to 1. So what we understood, what is the effect of any other medium? The medium also affects the force acting between two charged particles. It gets reduced by a factor of epsilon r. If permittivity is 5, force becomes 1/5. I calculate force the same way I calculate in vacuum. I divide by 5, I get the force in that medium. As simple as that. Then, similar to gravitation, what we have done so far, for force between only two particles. What happens if the third charge also is present? There's come the principle of superposition. And principle of superposition, I think we have done in gravitation, is same thing. What does principle of superposition say? the electrostatic, sorry, I have for this mistyping, electrostatic force between two charged particles remain unaffected by the presence of third particle. And it's pretty useful. How it is useful? If or other word I guess a resultant force on a charged particle is vector sum of force by each of the other charge present, taking one at a time. What is the use of superposition for principle? Suppose three charges are present, A, B, and C. How would you calculate force on charged particle A? Three charged particles are present at A, B, and C. How would I calculate using principle of superposition? How would I calculate force on charged particle A? All of
Vector sum.
vectors. All of you could hear it. So basically pretty simple. It's same thing in gravitation, and we'll see some application. If three charged particles are present in a space, how many force each will experience? Two forces. Each will experience two forces, and the net force will be vector sum of the two. Anyone who's not clear about this statement, fairly straightforward statement. And what will happen if four charged particles are present? How many forces each particle will experience? If three charged particles are present, A will experience force due to B, A will also experience force due to C, two forces. Resultant force is vector sum of the two. What happens if four charged particles are present? Each will experience three forces. You have to find the vector sum of
3 forces.
and so on. That's superposition. What if because superposition, it is possible to find the resultant force on any charged particle in presence of other point charges. Still, what is the condition which is still not relaxed? The condition that all charges should be point charge. That condition we have still not relaxed. Only relaxation because of principle of superposition is now we are not limited to only two charged particles. We can deal with multiple point charges. We can deal with multiple point charges by applying principle of vector addition, applying a principle of superposition. Sorry, I think those have anything, please don't key in because I am in a presentation mode. I am not able to see your, if anything you take key in onto, I will not be. So if anybody has a query, please speak up. I'm not able to see the text part. Okay. So can we try and apply principle of superposition and solve this question? Three charges, 4 small q, capital Q and small q are in a straight line at positions given 0. Sorry, that is L by 0, L by 2 and L. Resultant force at Q will be 0 if capital Q is equal to what? So this also is about a minute or 2 minutes question max. So I'll give you 2 minutes, try and solve in 2 minutes. Kirtana.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, what are the signs of the charges?
Actually, it does not matter. That's why you have to find the capital Q, which parameter the capital Q will come to. Capital Q has always some constant multiplied by small q. Capital Q has to come in terms of small q. And the coefficient of small q could be positive or negative.
Is it minus q by 4?
Huh?
Is it minus q by 4?
Let's go through. See, but before you get your answer, your method should be clear. What I need to calculate, I need to calculate force has to be 0 on which one? Force has to be 0 on, sorry, for result force at small q. I have to calculate force on this particle. How many forces this particle will experience? 2 forces. Net force to be 0. See, who asked, I think, Asha, you asked this question now, what is the sign of the charge? How many forces this charge will experience due to?
2 forces.
4q. Is there any doubt about nature of force between plus 4, this charge and this charge?
No, sir.
These are definitely of the same sign. Doesn't matter whether small q is positive or negative.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Force between 4q and small q is definitely repulsive in nature.
Repulsive. Repulsive.
So it means capital Q and small q has to be always
Attractive.
in nature. So that's how we should think. So basically, rather than getting an answer, first let's think what is going to happen. And then
Yes, sir.
if you think right, you'll get the answer also.
Yes,
Force
sir.
on C due to A. Repulsive, hence rightwards. Is that a statement clear? Force on C due to A is repulsive. Both are of the same sign and rightwards. For resultant force on Q to be 0, force on Q due to capital Q must be leftwards, which means it must be attractive. So what we conclude from these two statements, capital Q and small q must have opposite charge. So we have figured out sign. Now we'll find out magnitude. How do we find magnitude? Two forces acting, both have become opposite by if the charges are opposite. If capital Q and small q have opposite charge, then direction of forces become opposite. Now only you have to equate magnitude. Let's equate magnitude of two forces. What is this term here? This term indicates force between charge at A and charge at C. This is force between charge B and C. We calculate, we find small q is equal to capital Q. But sign has to be negative. The final answer is capital Q is equal to minus Q. Nitya, have you followed?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Meghna? Abhirup?
Yes, sir.
Tejas, have you followed?
Sir.
Okay. Now let's do one more then. Again, I'll give 2-3 minutes. All of you try. All of you can read the question. No need for me to read out. Everybody can read clearly from the screen. And the figure also is given here. Where should a third charge Q be placed so that it remains in equilibrium? Where should a third charge small q be placed so that it remains in equilibrium? How would we solve this question?
Sir,
Yes.
we have to mention even the magnitude of charge Q.
Actually, it will not depend on the magnitude of small q.
D by 2.
Huh? D by 2.
D by 2.
Very good. It has to be placed and it doesn't matter what the charge is. Right answer is D by 2. But I want to see sometimes we think of only one option, you get the right answer. But plus think through logically. See, when we say where should it be placed, it means you could have placed anywhere on the space. Anywhere on the space. So logically, which are the distinct possible positions? Distinct possible positions are on the line joining AB, and second is off the line joining AB. What is on the line joining AB and off the line? We have divided the space into two parts. So can you check, is it possible to place somewhere which is not on the line and still the net force on the charge Q be 0?
No chance, sir.
Why not?
At infinity.
Huh? No, other than infinity, any point other than line AB. Is it possible to place somewhere other than AB and still the net force on the... I'm just ruling out all possible options. See, D by 2 is correct answer. Logically, I think sometimes intuitively feel it will take midway it may happen. But I want to make sure that no other point is possible other than infinity. How do I check that one? Let's say this is the point P. Where is this point Q? Charge Q now is placed at a point which is not on the line AB.
Perpendicular bisector.
No, can it be 0 on perpendicular bisector?
It can't. There's force downwards.
That's what you have to check. How do we check? That's what I'm saying. So have you understood my point? I said, what are the logically distinct possible options? How I divided the space on the line joining two and other than those points. I'm checking other than those two point Q. So I have taken a general point Q, which is not on the line. Point charge, I have taken general point P, coordinate are X and Y. Can the force be 0 at this point here? It cannot be 0. Why it can't be 0? See, the two forces will be acting on this line. You understood those 2 points? due to this charge Q. This you understood this point? What are the two red lines drawn here? Direction of forces. If two forces are acting, the resultant of two forces can be zero only if the two forces are collinear. They are acting along the same line. If the point P is not on the line, the two forces cannot be collinear. So hence the force resultant can never be zero. Some are getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Then when you come to the line also, even line AB, what are the distinct possible positions of line AB? Distinct possible positions on left of A, right of B, somewhere between A and B. We have to check all three. Mentally, quickly you can check. So is there any point on the left of A where the force can be zero? Is there any point between A and B where it can be zero? Is there any point right of B where it can be
No,
zero?
sir, because the direction of the forces will be in the same
Excellent.
direction.
So what is the condition
So-
for two things? If two forces are acting, they must be acting. They must be
Excellent.
collinear and direction must be opposite. That's what, very good. So, so some of you getting it right. So suppose I take a point P. Where I have taken the point P? I have taken the point P on the right of B. Have you understood what the notation I have used? What is the coordinate of point P? Point P, the coordinate is greater than D. Can the force on this particle be zero? Let's see that one. Both the forces will act in the same direction. It doesn't matter. See, this one, if charge small q and capital Q are of the same sign, both forces will act towards right. What will happen if the charges are opposite?
Nothing.
Still the forces will be in the same direction. If charge Q, small q is opposite of capital Q, what will happen? Both forces will act towards left. Still, it cannot be zero. Let's see, some of you understand. Nishita, have you understood what I'm saying?
No, sir.
Huh? Not understood. Okay. Where we have placed the point now? Right of B. Which charge? How many forces the charge Q will experience? Small q. How many forces charge small q placed at point P will experience?
10.
How many forces? It will experience two forces. One due to charge at A, one due to charge at B.
Oh.
Okay. And direction of force due to charge at A and direction of force due to charge at B, both are in the same direction. So both are on the left of charge small q, and both have the same sign.
Your explanation is awesome, sir.
Huh? Okay,
Your
good.
explanation is awesome, sir.
Good. So basically, I'm saying whether basically looking at all possibilities. So somewhere between, now we come to, so right of B is not possible. Similar, we can check left of A also not possible. Two forces will act, and so we conclude, direction. What we understood, two forces must be collinear and opposite in direction and magnitudes equal. Then only it will be in a state of equilibrium. So position between A and B. So anywhere between A and B, see, this statement makes sense. If we place the third charge anywhere between A and B, the direction forces will be opposite. If we place charge anywhere between A and B, the direction of two forces acting will be opposite. Now, only thing I have to choose which value of x such that magnitudes are equal. If I place anywhere, it doesn't matter what the value of x. Anywhere I place here, it will have two forces due to this, have some force due to this charge. Both will always be opposite. Position between A and B ensures directions are opposite. Value of x will ensure magnitudes are equal. I have to choose a value of x so that magnitudes are equal. So I just equate the magnitudes. What is the magnitude due to left side charge? K into first charge into second charge divided by square of the distance. What is the force due to right hand charge? K into first charge into second charge divided by square of the distance. The distance, which distance we have to take? This one. When we simplify, what we find, we get x is equal to d by 2, which is the midpoint. And what we notice here, the position of equilibrium is independent of small q. This is a simple one, but it's an important question to understand. Okay, so Aditya? Aditya, yes. Awake or sleeping? Sleeping, okay. Akshita? Is there any Akshita here? No. Neha? Neha?
Sir.
Okay, somebody woke
Yes,
you
sir.
up. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And Meghna?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So are you awake or fallen asleep? Huh?
I'm awake, sir.
Good. You're listening?
Yes, sir.
Something going into your head?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. Now let's do a similar question if you have followed. What is change in this question? Earlier, 2 point charges were equal and of the same sign. What he had done here, two signs, one is 4q, other is minus q. So they are unequal in magnitude and opposite sign. Where should I place a small q so that it remains in equilibrium? So again, I give 2-3 minutes for all of you to think through and solve. Please try and do that.
D by 3.
No, just do it carefully.
So is it 2D?
Who is it? Yes, it is 2D.
2D by Sir,
Very, very good. I'm happy that some of you are getting it right. Excellent. But have you thought through all possible options? Have you understood why only on the line? Why not off the line? Why can't it between A and B? See, earlier we found a point of equilibrium, it was coming between A and B. But now what will happen if you place charge Q somewhere between A and B? What will happen? It will experience a force due to plus 4q. It will also experience a force due to minus q. And all of you listening? Okay, now finally I could look at some of the chat. Some people, you need to mind your language. Yeah, I was going through some of the chat. Okay. Okay, some people are acting nice. Okay, fine. Let's see. See, suppose a small q can have same sign as capital Q. It can have opposite sign of capital Q. Are you following so far? If sign of a small q, I assume as same as capital Q, then what will the force between charge at A and charge at P if both are of the same sign? Repulsive, towards the right. And force between charge at P and B will be equal to attractive. Both will, see, basically point is both will act in the same direction. Between A and B, forces on Q will be in the same direction. Left of A, what will happen? Why can't we keep it left of A? Is it possible that we place charge somewhere here? If I place charge here, what will happen? One will be attractive, one will be repulsive. The force will be in the opposite direction. So is it possible to get a position left of A where force is 0? Ahlad, can you tell me? Ahlad, you're sleeping?
Yes, sir.
Sleep. Answer yes for sleeping, no? I think for you have to keep the video on so that you can see you sleep.
Someone else answered that, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, Ahlad. Okay. Good. Someone knew better. Okay. So Alan, can we keep this charge left of A and still get a state of equilibrium? Yes or no? Can I keep the charge? Are you seeing this one? Can you see the pointer here on the screen? If I keep the charge somewhere here on the left of A, can the net force on this charge be 0? The forces
No,
are
sir.
opposite in direction.
No, sir.
Why can't?
Because it's closer to a charge of greater magnitude.
Correct. What will happen if I keep on this side? What will happen? Yes, see, you understood the statement. If I keep it left of A, force will be. Sorry, I made an error here. Correct this statement here. All of you looking. Force will be in the opposite direction, but force due to cap 4q being nearer and larger will always have greater magnitude than other force. The two forces
Okay,
acting,
sir.
one will always be greater. Because magnitude is greater and distance is smaller. That force will always be greater. Hence, we have to keep on the side, we have to keep this point, charge q, at a point nearer to a smaller charge. It has to be on the right of B only. It cannot be left of A. So if we choose that point, first we need to understand where it has to be placed. Once we place it, if the charges are opposite sign, the equilibrium position of the third charge will be nearer to the smaller charge. I think some typos are there, 1 or 2, which I need to correct. Most of you followed? The charge will be this, how it will be. Can we calculate x now? Can you form the equation now? How many forces will act on the charge at point P? 2 forces will act. So can you mark this? See, so moment you place it here, direction. Now equate the magnitude. Can you write the equation of magnitude here, all of you? What is the magnitude between this charge and this charge? K into first charge into second charge divided by square of the distance. Same way, write both the equation. So this is how the equation will form. A into this is the force between A and P, and this force between B and P. And we solve, we get x is equal to 2d. And this also, last point also what I mentioned, if the sign of Q is changed, still the direction of both forces will reverse and equilibrium position remains unchanged. What happens if there are, so far we have taken forces which are charges which are on the same line. What happens if it is in a plane? ABC an equilateral triangle of side 10 meter, big triangle. And 3 charges are placed at ABC respectively. Find the force on A. Sorry, so find the force on, what is the charge at A? 1 microcoulomb. Nitya, yes. Nitya, you raise your hand. Any question you have? Achha, just testing it.
It was some other accounts.
No problem. Find the force on 1 microcoulomb. Ignore the word A here. Which A? The small a. Ignore this one. So can you calculate force on A? How would you calculate? Pranav. Pranav, can you hear me? Pranav?
Yes, sir. Sleeping, sir.
Yes. Yeah, Pranav, can you tell me how would you calculate force on charge at A? What is the method? Pranav, you are quiet. What is the method?
Sleeping, sir.
Okay. So who is not sleeping? Let me see somebody who may not be sleeping. Nitya, can you tell, since you raised your hand, I thought maybe you are moving your hand around a bit. So Nitya, can you tell me how would you calculate?
So first find the force between A and B, and then A and C, and then find the result.
Excellent answer. Dasha, it will explain. Disha, can you calculate?
Tough, sir.
Yes,
Tough, sir.
So basically, first thing we should come to our mind, it will experience 2 forces, one due to B, another due to C. And if we are little careful, there's one more thing we'll notice. What else we'll notice, you know? The magnitude of 2 forces
Angle is 120.
magnitude of 2 forces are equal. because product of charges are equal and the distances are equal. So whatever magnitude of force B exert on A, C also will exert the same force. So that sometimes make the calculation a little simpler. I mean, all have understood what I said? Yes, A will experience two forces will act on charge at A. Both will be of equal magnitude. Resultant will be vector sum depend on magnitude and theta. So only thing what we need to do, we need to calculate F separately and theta separately. We need to calculate. Nitya, now your video is on. I can see you sleeping now. So what are you going to do now? So basically, we need to calculate magnitude separately and theta between two forces separately. Then you can easily solve. Let's see how we're going to do it. You notice this is the direction in which the forces will act. Force on A due to charge B will be repulsive, and force on charge at A due to C, they are being opposite, it will be attractive. So these are two forces. So what is the angle between those two? All you can easily figure out how much this angle will be, 120 degree. The resultant will be by using your vector addition method. We'll take theta is equal to 120, both forces F. And if you remember the formula, we understand better. If two vectors are placed at 120 degree, angle sum will come equal to magnitude of either vector. Resultant will be F. Have you followed what I said? If magnitude of this force, is F, this force also will be F. If both are F, the resultant also will be F only. And what is F? How do you calculate? F is direct magnitude formula, simple formula. I calculate FAB is equal to FAC. All of you understand what does this indicate? FAB indicate force on charged particle A due to charged particle B. Both are equal in magnitude. We substitute those values and we get the magnitude of force equal to what is 9 micronewton. Angle between them is 120 degree. Hence, we can find the vector sum. And which direction the resultant force will act? Since two forces are equal, resultant will act along the bisector. So what will be the direction of resultant force acting on charged particle A? Parallel to BC. That's the answer. Tejas? Tejas?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood?
Yes, sir. I understood this.
Ahlad? Again, sir, slept off. Huh? Okay. Ahlad? Who else? Okay. Tanvi? I think all these people
Yes,
have
sir.
checked. Huh? Tanvi, are there or not there?
Yes, sir.
You're there. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
No, sorry, my wrong question. Are you listening to the lecture or listening to music?
I'm listening to the lecture.
Okay. Yes, you can rightfully answer, yes, I'm listening, but I didn't ask what are you listening to. It could be Netflix, it could be Hotstar, it could be music. Okay. What happens if the charge at C is plus? So can I have answered without doing any calculation? What changes will take place? So can you first figure out what changes will happen?
So what do you ask? So what happens if the charge?
Charge at C, see earlier what was the charge? Minus 100 microcoulomb. What it becomes plus 100 microcoulomb. Will the force and charge at A remain same or change?
They'll just be in the opposite direction.
Right. No. So what will happen? Just do answer carefully. What will happen if I...
Perpendicular to BC, sir. Perpendicular to BC.
Excellent answer. It will be perpendicular to BC. It will point vertically upwards. Can you give me a logical reason also why would that happen? See, this direction, this force will not change. Which direction force will change? Direction of this force will reverse. Right now it is attractive. If this charge becomes positive, this force also becomes repulsive. It will act in this direction. And angle between two forces earlier
sir, the voice is not clear, sir.
Yeah, it will become root 3 times. It will become vertical.
So voice is not clear, sir.
Okay, let me repeat that part again. See what happens moment the bandwidth drops little bit. the voice clarity gets affected. So I'll be a little slower again. So let me repeat. Which charge we are changing here? And just moment you find anywhere again not clear, please stop me. This question, what did it say? Which charge I'm changing now? This -100, suppose we change the sign, make it +100. What will happen to force acting on charge particle A? This force will not change because we are not changing charge B. But this force magnitude will not change because magnitude of charge will not change. But sign has been changed. What will happen? Direction of force also will change. It will reverse. So this force due to C will start acting in this direction. Are you clear? The force will start acting in this direction. So one force like this, other force like this. What will the angle between them? What is the angle between two forces then?
60 degrees.
60 degree. And when you calculate, we substitute in the formula, if each force is F, resultant will come √3F, and the direction will be along the bisector. Which direction the bisector will act? This is the direction along which the bisector will act. Okay. Right. So more or less, this completes. So now, some of you, whichever part you think are, I'll just run through some of it. See that all part we can go through once. See that all have understood.
Sir, in the permissivity part, where did you get 1/4 pi from?
Hey, 1/4 pi epsilon naught. Actually, it's a good question. See, there are two different laws related to electrostatic force. One of the two laws is Coulomb's law. There's one more law we'll come across later. This is called Gauss law. And when we study Gauss law, it is based on slightly different concept. And there we'll notice why 1/4 pi epsilon makes more sense. It's based on spherical symmetry. So because until we come to Gauss law, it looks a little odd. The value of K is 1/4 pi epsilon naught. But when you come to Gauss law, which is actually more neat form, and many people consider it to be better form, then we notice, yes, 1/4 pi epsilon naught makes more sense. And there's something called solid angle. Maybe I'll spend some time on solid angle also. You know, when we draw a circle, what is the angle of full circle makes at the center?
360.
Or 2 pi. And there's some similar way, say, if we take a spherical surface, what is spherical surface? Entire spherical surface, what is the angle it's subtended at the center? That's not like a surface and subtended on a plane. That is the angle subtended in a space. And that's why we call it a solid angle. Okay. So what is solid angle? So there we come across the concept the total solid angle is 4 pi. From there, somewhere it comes. So that's we'll come to that later. But at some point of this, if there's a, okay. This part, most of you are clear? Vector form. If you have to redo it, all of you, can you solve on your own? Any question on the vector form? See, moment I say you have to solve question in vector form, what comes to your mind? What differently you need to do?
Find the unit vector in the
Absolutely
direction.
good. You just need to find a unit vector and multiply. That's all. Moment you see right in vector form, many people look at, okay, this looks very confusing. But all you need to know, you need to just figure out by just unit vector. And how does sign of charges taken care of in case of this formula? We know that the direction of force changes depending the sign are same or the sign are opposite. How is that part taken care of in this formula? In vector form? Yeah.
We apply a mod to the
Yes, when you
magnitude.
take this one, if they are same sign, this whole term will come positive. If they are the opposite sign, this whole term comes negative. So automatically the direction of force also reverses. So these are two things we understand. We understand vector form also well. And so three things: basic formula of Coulomb's law, understanding similarity and difference with gravitation. So does it easily come to your mind? What are the key differences vis-a-vis gravitation law? What are the key differences we come across vis-a-vis gravitation law? Bhagyashree, are you there? Bhagyashree.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what did I ask, Bhagishri?
Sorry, sir.
What did I ask just now? I asked some question. I forgot. I hope you remember.
The key points, sir.
No, I said not key point. I said something else. What did I say? What are the key difference between universal gravitation law and Coulomb's law?
Universal gravitation law can only be positive.
Yes. No, so basically, both masses can only be positive, whereas charge can be positive as well as negative. What other difference you find between the two?
Epsilon.
Coulomb's law needs medium.
Yes, it depends on medium also. And how do we take care of medium? We use term called, so we have a medium property also. And medium property, we name it something, we give it some name, and I don't know why, but we have given a difficult sounding name, though the property is not so complicated. What is the name we have given? Permittivity. What does it mean? Whatever. Permittivity. So permittivity of any medium is compared to, all of you understood relative permittivity? If I say relative permittivity of a medium is 5. So moment we submerge the charge in that medium, what will happen to force acting between the two particles? Force will become 1. Yes, Akash. Akash, you raise your hand.
1/5.
Akash, you raise your hand. You raise your virtual hand.
Yeah, but I forgot what I was going to ask.
Excellent, sir. Good. Okay. So we understand difference. I hope we understand vector form also. We have dealt with superposition. What does superposition means? This is a vector sum. We also came across a question of equilibrium. Just go through that question again on equilibrium part also. I hope we can. So this is vector form. This is medium effect. This is superposition. And then application of superposition in case of 3 charges placed on a straight line. When it is placed in a straight line, plus minus sign is enough. So we dealt with one of those question, equilibrium question, where the particle should be placed. Yes, Akash, again your hand has gone up. I hope this time you remember.
No, I remember. Like,
Yes.
why does the force decrease in other mediums? Eh?
Okay, I'll come to that also later. Yes, you will find some explanation later on, but it's a medium property. It's something like this. Suppose I ask you, okay, why relative density of iron is more than water?
Because there's more mass in same volume.
There's more mass in the same volume. Okay, good answer. Okay, I think acceptable. There also, I think we need to know a little bit more. We need to learn more. It will. I think some of the answers will come after we do some Gauss law and all. It's a fairly lengthy topic. It takes about a month. So, and a few things that we deal with in terms of Coulomb law, and a few more things we deal in terms of Gauss law. So, what will happen is something like you keep going in circle. You learn something, focus on what are things we learn. Some of the questions are still not answered. You will find as we go forward, some of the questions get answered later on, right? But so far, just pay attention to whatever we have done so far. Is that properly understood? This part, third particle, how to calculate sign, minus sign. And this also, I hope all of you are clear what happens, change of sign. Okay. I think I'm done. So, so I will again send a message sometime around, most likely around 4. I'll give a message. Again, I will start a session. It's not compulsory. So those who have any question, any query can again sign in and they can also join. And if you have any doubts, I'll try and clarify. Okay. Okay, thank you. So I'll end the session here. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, all you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.